Clark.
Speaker, my question is to the Minister for Communications. Minister, yesterday on ABC Radio you disassociated politicians from the government's misinformation and disinformation bill by claiming that truth in political advertising is a matter for the AEC. However, we all know that the AEC has no jurisdiction over the honesty of political parties, politicians and political candidates. So will you now admit your statement yesterday was misleading, correct the record and commit to properly regulate truth in political advertising?
I'm just going to hear from the Leader of the House.
Yeah. Mr Speaker, while the question about the role of the AEC is certainly a question that's in order to be asked, and I'm not disputing that, it's being asked to a minister who has no responsibility for that agency simply because the minister referred to it in a radio interview, which ordinarily would have to be redirected to the appropriate minister.
May I assist the House if you could rephrase that question, because the minister is obviously not responsible for the Australian Electoral Commission, but it's regarding her remarks. I'll give the member the opportunity just to rephrase the question to assist the House.
Minister, yesterday on ABC Radio you disassociated politicians from the government's misinformation and disinformation bill by claiming that truth in political advertising will not be covered by that bill. However, we all know that the AEC has no jurisdiction over the honesty of political parties, politicians and political candidates. So will you now admit that your statement about the exclusions from your misinformation and disinformation bill was misleading? Will you correct the record and commit to properly regulate truth in political advertising?
Call to the Minister for Social Services.
Thank you, Speaker. And in my capacity as representing the Special Minister for State, I thank the member for his question. The growth in mis- and disinformation is widespread. It's not only on our shores but occurring in democracies around the world. Elections and referenda are a contest of ideas. However, the truth must be at the core. Last year, the Special Minister of State wrote to the Joint Standing Committee on Electoral Matters and asked—
Minister will pause. The member for Clark on a point of order.
Speaker, on relevance, the essence of the question clearly goes to the Minister for Communications misleading the Australian community in the media yesterday.
Well, the minister is being relevant to the question, and under the standing orders she's entitled to answer it. Minister has the call.
As I was saying to the member, last year the Special Minister of State wrote to the Joint Standing Committee on Electoral Matters and asked that it inquire into the 2022 federal election and related matters, and included the potential for truth in political advertising.
The minister may, on the point of order.
Just as I understand the question to you, but as I understand the member for Clark's question, he's referring to comments made by the Minister for Communications, and he's asking for a response and clarification in relation to the comments made by the Minister for Communications, which is why the question is properly put to her.
The Leader of the House.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Speaker.
Order. The Leader of the Opposition. We're just going to deal with this matter in a courteous way.
For any question to be asked in the House, it has to be to a minister relating to their ministerial responsibilities. So the only way the question can be in order is for it to be answered by the minister who is representing the minister who has responsibility for the AEC.
I'll just deal with this matter.
And if I just page 549 of practice makes it clear that if a question has been addressed to the incorrect minister, the responsible minister may answer, which is exactly what's happening.
And I did give the opportunity for the member, because of the subject content, to rephrase the question. He chose not to do that. And the subject matter, because of the question, if he had rephrased it and just said the minister's interview or gave the date, it wasn't. And while I gave him the opportunity, he chose not to do that. So we'll just continue under the standing orders and the practice for that to occur. Yes, but the nature of the question contained the information about the Australian Electoral Commission. So under the standing orders and under the practice, the way the question was phrased, the minister has the responsibility. and I'll just get her to conclude her answer.
Thank you, Speaker. So last year, the Special Minister of State
will pause. I'll deal with one moment at a time. If someone's made an unparliamentary language, I'll ask them to withdraw. I didn't hear what was happening, but anyway, we'll deal. Order. The member for Latrobe and the member for McEwen will cease interjecting. The Leader of the Opposition is on his feet on a point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I think in the circumstances it would be appropriate, if I might say, to ask the member for Clark, now that he understands your point, because I don't think it was clear. To be fair, I don't think it was clear in the first instance. And if in the redrafting of his question he doesn't make specific reference to the AEC, then I don't see how the question couldn't be in order.
Well, I've explained the situation. I've explained what I gave the opportunity for the member for Clark. I'll discuss with him after question time to make sure he's crystal clear of the standing orders and the practice moving forward. I'm just going to ask the Minister to conclude her answer.
Thank you, Speaker. Well, last year the Special Minister of State wrote to the Joint Standing Committee on Electoral Matters and asked that it inquire into the 2022 federal election and related matters, and included the potential truth in political advertising laws to enhance the integrity and transparency of the electoral system.
Order.
Of course,
the Minister will pause. The member for Clark.
The Speaker, the government is attempting a cover-up.
Resume your seat. Resume your seat. Resume your seat. It's not a point of order. Just ask the Minister to conclude her answer.
Look, of course the government will consider the recommendations and changes put forth by JSCEM in its final report. We welcome that report when it does come.